Hello, welcome to A Few Minutes with Esther. I'm Buddy Pennington, pastor of Westville Assembly of God in Holmes County, Florida, your host for the study. This video is going to deal with Esther chapter number 4 and verses 1 through 3. Now in these 3 verses we discover that Moordecai finds out about the decree that Haman had talked King Xerxes into making about destroying all of the Jews. When this happens, Moordecai tears his clothing, he throws on sackcloth for a robe, and he puts ashes on himself, and he goes through the streets of the city where the king's palace is, wailing and moaning and groaning. He goes all the way up to the palace gate. Now, it was against the law for anyone to enter into the palace with mourning clothes on. So Moordecai goes up to the gate in his state of mourning. Now, that time in history, when people tore their clothing or put on sackcloth and ashes on their bodies, they were showing an extreme state of grief and bewilderment. They were showing they were absolutely astonished by what they had found out. In this case, he's found out that the Jews are going to be destroyed. And he's a Jew. He's alarmed everyone in the city with his actions. I wonder sometimes, in our modern society, if people would be willing to display such grief when they find out something terrible is going to happen. We have protesters in our nation and actually around the world who take to the streets with signs and banners and bullhorns and do everything they can to get people's attentions so that they can state their case. This is one individual, Moordecai, who went out into the king's city, all the way up to the king's palace, to let people know he is in grief over what has been decreed. Folks, sometimes we have to stand alone in our protests. Many times protesters today make a big crowd. In fact, they will even hire people to come along and be with them so that they can make sure they have plenty of people around to make a big scene. Moordecai is doing the big scene, so to speak, on his own. He is standing up for the Jewish people on his own. I wonder how many people in our society today would be willing to stand up for an entire nation by themselves. It's something to think about. Allow me to encourage you to visit our Facebook page. It's Westville AG at 2513 Cypress Street. If you have questions or comments about the Bible study, leave those in the comments section that is provided at the end of the post, and leave us your email so that we can get back in touch with you with an answer. May God richly bless you until next time, whenever we get together for A Few Minutes with Esther.